Now let's talk about Britain's grooming gang scandal. It has come roaring back into the spotlight. A damning report is out. It says the police and government officials downplayed the scandal and looked away. Why? Because they feared being accused of racism. The UK has long struggled with grooming gangs. These gangs are groups of men. They systematically abuse young girls, often for years, sometimes even decades. In several high-profile cases, the perpetrators were men of Pakistani origin. Now, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is under fire. He once called demands for a national inquiry a quote-unquote far-right bandwagon. But today, he has endorsed the same inquiry. The UK government says this is about resetting the system. But for victims, the question remains, why did it take this long to act?
Britain is facing a reckoning. A scandal that has lingered for years has now been laid bare. And the truth is deeply uncomfortable. A new report by Baroness Louise Casey has confirmed what many suspected. The police and public officials turned a blind eye to child sex grooming gangs, and they did so to avoid being called racist. The report says a disproportionate number of offenders were Asian men. But instead of investigating, authorities chose to stay silent. They worried about community tensions. They feared accusations of discrimination. And so, they did nothing. And that silence left children vulnerable. The report says there was an appalling lack of data. Police records failed to track the ethnicity of offenders. And the data that did exist was dismissed. Claims of grooming gangs were labeled sensational and biased, or simply brushed off as far-right propaganda. But this report lays out some undeniable facts. Baroness Casey says enough men from Asian ethnic backgrounds have been convicted. It merits a serious, national response. Yet for years, the UK government focused on local inquiries and downplayed the scale of the issue. The numbers tell their own story. According to the report, around 500,000 children in the UK are likely to experience sexual abuse each year. Police recorded 100,000 offences in 2024 alone. Of these, 17,100 cases were flagged as child sexual exploitation, but the number of cases attributed to gang grooming, just 700. Baroness Casey says that figure is highly unlikely to reflect reality, and that is perhaps the most damning part. The system wasn't just unprepared, it was unwilling to examine these cases.
Secretary.
And now it's facing the consequences. The political fallout has begun. UK Home Secretary Yvette Cooper has apologised to victims. She has announced a new national inquiry, an effort to fix what is broken. But that apology has come too late for many. The Prime Minister has also weighed in. Keir Starmer says he commissioned the report to double-check the facts. And having read it, he now agrees with the findings. He called it common-sense politics. That's a stark contrast from January, when Starmer said those demanding a national inquiry are jumping on a bandwagon and of amplifying far-right talking points. He defended the decision to launch only local reviews, but today he has backed the very inquiry he once rejected. It's a U-turn, and it has left the Labour leader politically exposed. Baroness Casey is calling for a national reset, a complete revamp of the system. She wants officials to be open to scrutiny and change. She wants transparency, accountability, and above all action. But the damage is already done. For years, children were failed. And those in power chose politics over protection. This is no longer just a crime story. It's a story of national failure and shame.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
stands at $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor
Hindi,
$30 trillion ka karjo.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Sekali radikali.
Japanese,
$4 trilhões.
Portuguese,
Por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select the language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.